My name is Cameron Toth, and this is Biz Dev Live. I'm so excited today to bring you Mr. Larry Long Jr. He has the energy and passion to light up your keynote session. He's a motivational speaker, a life coach, sales coach. He is going to bring it to you today. Not only do I get to host him here on Biz Dev Live, but later on this very day, and you can check this out on the replay. You can watch the Master Connection series with Steve Spiro. We're going to be talking about motivation. So we're going to be talking about motivation and sales all day. It's going to be a great day, and we get to start it off here on Biz Dev Live. So if you're checking this out live, make sure you check in to follow up. We got a lot of people scheduled, registered for that event. Master Connection series. I believe it's number 29 or so. It's pretty cool. Lots of things going on. Motivation. Check that out. Stay with me. We're going to get back with Larry Long Jr. right after the Biz Dev theme.
Biz Dev Live, Biz Dev Live. Weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Live. Biz Dev Live, Biz Dev Live. Weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Leadership and motivation. Empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live. Business development, not even selling it. Biz D with C. Brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C. Brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is business development, not even selling it. Biz Dev Live. Biz Dev Live. This is business development, not even selling it.
All right. I'm going to bring Larry on the screen here. I'm going to read the bio. Larry, here we go. Make some movement here. Larry Long Jr. is the founder and CEO of Larry Long Jr. LLC, which focuses on sales, motivation, inspiration, training, and coaching, and the host of the Midweek Midday Motivational Minute. He is also co-founder and lead instructor of the Sales Allies, an online sales training course and supportive communities designed to uplift the sales community. Larry is extremely passionate about coaching and helping professionals take their game to the next level. As an experienced sales leader with a demonstrated history of success in SaaS, sales, software as a service, Larry brings a unique perspective to the table and understands many of the challenges faced by sales professionals. Please welcome to the show the amazing, the legitimate Larry Long Jr. Thanks for being with me.
Come on, CT, Biz Dev Live. I had to break out the gold mic because you got me hype over here.
Man.
I thought it was my walk-up music. I said, I'm ready, batter up.
Love it. And I love the pink bat. You're on color, on time. Let's go. All right, Larry, you are the man with the energy here. You are really launching a new business. So talk to us about that. And then we'll get into the history that, the backstory that's brought you to this place in time.
Cameron, first I got to say thank you for allowing me to join you on Biz Dev Live. I just launched LLJR Enterprises. It's a motivational, inspirational, keynote speaking, a sales coaching, training, consulting, workshops, you name it. And really at the core, my focus is on how do I help. And you said it, my wife hates it. She says, next level, that's so generic, but how can I impact individuals? How can I help folks get from whatever level they're at now to that next level? Whether it's business, whether it's sales, whether it's your MBS, not NBA, but MBS, your mind, your body, and your soul. I'm on a mission to have a positive impact and to elevate individuals. So I'm passionate. Shoot, you give me the gold mic. Good luck getting it back.
And tell me what MBS is. I was like, MBS, what's MBS?
Mind, body, and your soul. Gotcha. It really, to have success in life, you got to make sure that you're taking care of your mind, your body, and your soul. And it takes work. A lot of people think that, hey,
MBS, mind, body, and soul. So we'll be hitting on that today. All right. So what did little Larry want to be when he grew up, and how did we get to this path where you are really in this place to help people, motivate people? What gives you the desire and passion to do that? How did we get here, Larry?
Yeah, Cameron. Little Larry wanted to be a professional baseball, professional basketball, professional football player. And I can tell you that this journey, this adventure, oftentimes misadventure. I mean, as I think through it all, it's been a misadventure at some point. But along the way, I played baseball at University of Maryland, go Terps. And I really had dreams of being a professional baseball player. Went to minor league spring training with the Dodgers and the Red Sox. And they told me kind of like what Russell used to say, thank you for coming out. God bless you and good night. They said, don't let the door hit you. When the good Lord hit you, Larry, you got to go. So I went off to the working world, did IT consulting, wasn't passionate about it. So I opened an indoor baseball softball academy. We ran out of cash. You don't have cash, you don't have a business. I went back to the working world as a sales professional, a sales leader, and that's really what brings me here today. I've had the blessing of an opportunity to work for 10 different jobs, 8 different companies. 2 of the companies I left, and then I went back. I'm a glutton for punishment.
So you've really had some of that School of Hard Knocks training coming up. I really respect that. It's definitely the school that I chose for myself, making lots of silly, challenging decisions, challenging because they were creating challenges for me rather than creating opportunities for me. Talk to us about, some of those lessons learned as you were going from this desire to be a sports professional, getting into the IT world, understanding that wasn't your passion, and then opening up a business that was attached to your desire and passion, but not having that work out the way that you wanted it to go.
Yeah, a lot of lessons. Now, team sports will teach you a lot. Teaches you teamwork. It teaches you internal drive and desire, determination, goal setting. Essentially, you better write out your goals, and that's your game plan. If you don't have a game plan, good luck. You step out on the field without a game plan, oh, you're flying blind. So taking those lessons that I learned, and I'm a little guy, you can't see me, but I'm 5'9" 3/4, and that's rounding up. I always like to say I'm 6 foot. I round up to the closest foot, but I'm a little dude. So playing baseball, I was always the underdog. And essentially, I get it from my father. My father passed 5.5 years ago, but his nickname was Shorty Long. He ran track at University of Maryland. And 5'8", a long jumper, triple jumper, coming from the projects, the hood of Baltimore City, only one from his family to graduate high school. I learned at an early age that, hey, if you don't have it within your heart, if you don't have that go-getter attitude, you're going to have a tough time. Now, he also shared, in addition to being a go-getter, you've got to be a go-giver. And essentially, we were fortunate. It's not, we didn't grow up rich, but essentially my dad made it out the hood. He said, hey, we're blessed and highly favored, and it's our responsibility to pass that along to others. If we don't do it, shame on you, little Larry. You can't have my name, Larry Long Jr., if you're not going to have an attitude of gratitude and an attitude of giving back to others. It's not about us. It really isn't about us. It's about what do we do to serve others. Martin Luther King Jr., this is one of my favorite quotes. He says, and I quote, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing to help others? And every morning I ask myself, hey, Larry Long Jr., first of all, you're getting more gray hair. That means that you're getting older and wiser. My wife says, you're getting older. Don't go telling those nice people you're getting wiser. But essentially, I asked myself, hey, Larry, what are you going to do today to impact other people for the positive? Because guess what, CT? We have an impact on people. It's either positive or womp womp. It's negative. I'm intentionally trying to make sure it's on the positive side.
I love that. I love that. And I love the impact that your father had in your life, those lessons that he was teaching you early on, that attitude of gratitude, so important. I owe a lot to my father. He was doing a lot of the stuff himself. My mother was out on the West Coast. My father was raising me in the East, gave me a great love of books. But there's always a trade-off and balance. Somebody doing it by himself, it's very challenging. In terms of you kind of coming up and getting into this first business where you said, all right, IT is my passion. Let me go into this business. You had learned some of these lessons around team sports, had a game plan. Where did that go wrong when you started up that first business? We have a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners that watch this show. So I think a key takeaway is, what are some of the danger? What are some of the pitfalls that you can run into?
Yeah, you got to know your numbers. That's it. You got to know your numbers. The numbers that we knew: batting averages, home runs, RBIs, stolen bases. Those aren't the fundamental numbers that you got to know for a successful business. You got to know your income statement. You got to know your balance sheet. And you better know your statement of cash flows, because without cash, you don't have a business. And that's what happened. We would meet with our accountant, and our accountant was fabulous. He understood what was going on, but there was something lost in translation that just never made it to myself and my partner that, hey, if y'all continue down this road, it's a path leading to destruction. And for us, we destructed, ran out of cash. And essentially my parents, they bailed us out. They said, hey, we love you so much. We're going to let you wrap this thing up. You're not a big bank. You're not too big to fail. That might work for the government, but it doesn't work for Mama and Papa Long. So they shut it down, and it was really a good decision. We had more money going out the back door than we had coming in the front door. We didn't understand the seasonality, and having 10,000 square feet, that's a healthy, and I mean healthy, monthly payment for the for the building, for everything that came with it. And you've got to have that coming in the front door. Lesson learned. I can tell you with my business right now, I still got to use my fingers to count, but I know my numbers.
No, I think that's so incredible. And I talk about it a lot on this show, not only building profit in so that you can pay yourself, which a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners don't really think that hard about. They just think about it in simple terms of, all right, if I have a baseball bat and that baseball bat costs me $10 to make, and maybe they include some of these extra costs like storage or shipping. All right, so that's, $12, $14, $15 all in, and I charge $20, $30. All right, I got my $15, but it's not $15. Right? There's taxes, and there's workers comp and insurance, and what are we paying in rent? And how do you annualize that and put that in the cost per bat and all that kind of stuff? Those numbers are a little bit more tricky. It takes a little bit more comfort with an Excel sheet. But beyond all that, the idea of not only thinking about profit for building in revenue enough to pay yourself, but also where's the future of this business going? Are we building in enough money so that we can expand and build and purchase a building rather than rent, buy a vehicle, all that kind of stuff? I know for me, that was a big failure in starting Toth Event Staffing in the first couple of years. Was like, oh man, just making a dollar more than what I'm selling something for, that doesn't work.
So true. So true. I've recently had this conversation. So many small business owners are working in their business. They're just hands-on, which is fine. You got to do what you got to do. But I challenge everyone that's listening, that's watching, continue to work in your business, but also carve out time to work on your business. Yeah. And that's really the difference between playing checkers and playing chess. I think it's Japanese, it's Asian philosophy where they're looking to make moves that impact 7 generations for your business. What are you doing today that's going to have a positive impact 7 years from today? It's really, and I'm challenged with this, Cameron. It's having that long term, looking at the long term impact versus the short term. I'm great on the short term, but I got to put my thinking cap on and be intentional with saying, hey, what about 3 quarters from now? What about 2 years from now? What about 7 years from now? What is that mission? What is that vision? What is that plan? And what can I do today to have that impact down the road versus what can I do today to impact tomorrow?
Yeah, I love that. And you hit me different because I always preach the long term, but 7 generations like that was like, oh wow. Right. That hit a little different. All right. So you had these challenges early on, learning from the School of Hard Knocks, but you then pivoted, went into a very successful career in sales. Talk to us about how you made that transition and what led to your success.
Yeah, well, I mean, the School of Hard Knocks University. I got my first taste of sales with Lawns by Larry. I was 11 years old and my mom made these flyers. Wouldn't you rather be chilling on your yacht than doing lawn care? Call Lawns by Larry. And she told me, get out there and knock on some doors, talk to some people, and sell your lawn mowing services. I looked at her like a deer in headlights. You want me to do what? She said, yeah, get out there. I said, She said, well, what's the worst that someone can say to you? I said, no. She said, is it that bad? I said, yes. I don't like to be told no, but I got my little behind out there knocking on doors, selling. We lived in townhouses, selling $10 for the inside unit, the front and the back, selling $15 for the end units, that's front, back, and the side. And I got some clients. I said, I like this. So when my baseball academy failed, I found an opportunity making 150 cold calls a day, picking up that 500-pound phone. And you talk about business development. Whoa, we were developing a whole lot of business, calling on CPAs and accountants. What I learned is that when you speak from the heart, people can feel it. When you're just BSing, it stinks. People they can smell a faker. They can smell, I call it commission breath, when you're in it for you. When you're in it for them. And I'll give you an example. I was just coming off of my failed baseball softball academy. And essentially, I found my purpose was I want to help these CPAs and accountants help their small business owners not end up like me. And when I shared my testimony, when I shared my story about understanding the numbers in baseball, but not understanding the numbers of business, it clicked with the accountants. We now had a connection because they're looking to impact in a positive manner their business owners. And we had a solution to help them. So when I think about sales, some people cringe. They're like, oh, sales. And my keynote is sales is not a 4-letter word. Sales is all about helping. It's about matchmaking. You're matching whatever you have, your product, your service, your thoughts, your ideas with someone else's needs, their wants, their desires, their challenges, their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations. So essentially, when you look at it from that perspective, it's now I get to help people. I get to bless people. And I get to do that. And I receive a blessing in return. So the more people that I help, all of a sudden it helps me. It helps the organization. And we're all selling, whether we want to admit it or not. So many times people think about sales. They think of the used car sales lot. You go there looking for a minivan. They're trying to get you in a Ferrari. You think about the mall. When we're allowed to go to the mall, the person who wants to squirt the little lotion in your hand. No, I'm moisturized. I'm not Ashley Larry. Not today. If you called me last weekend, whoa, the elbows were ashy. I could have used some lotion. But no, you're barking up the wrong tree. So essentially, sales, in my perspective, it's the most rewarding opportunity that we have to be able to serve others, give others. Love it.
Yeah, and I like that take on it because we're always selling, right? We're selling to our kids, we're selling to our spouse, we're selling our ideas, we're selling our thoughts, we're selling our strategies, we're selling how we're going to get through the day to ourselves in the morning, right? Getting up, are we motivating ourselves? And what are we telling ourselves to inspire ourselves to get through the day? So sales are a daily part of our life. I talk about it with my staff on the hospitality side. We're coming up to somebody's door. We want to look sharp in our uniform because we're selling what we do even after the package has already been sold. We're always selling, right? I love that take on it. And I think that for a lot of people, if you put it that way, right, it takes some of the dread. That's right. Because I know for me, I've always talked about myself. I don't really think of myself as a salesperson. I'm not that cold calling animal kind of person that's just excited, wakes up, I want to call somebody and sell them a service. But the idea of helping somebody that excites me. That gets me wound up. And so when you talk about it like that to people, hey, I have a product, I have a service, and it can help you. Let's talk about it. I love it.
That's right. It's amazing. And I use an analogy, and one of my reps said, "Larry, you're wrong." I said, "We want to Paul Revere it." When Paul Revere announced it, he announced it to everyone. He said, "That's wrong." I said, "Well, I'm going to go with it." We want to announce it to everyone. And if we don't, we're being selfish and we're being negligent if we have something that can really impact. And you hear the word value. Everyone says you got to sell value. Well, value means different things to different people. Essentially, I'm a big believer that you've got to ask the question. And then my theme for 2021, Cameron, has been shh, listen. We've been blessed with 2 of these and 1 of these for a reason. We're supposed to listen twice as much as we're supposed to talk. So I've been intentional, and I work with my sellers to make sure that we get the mic out of our hand and we put it in the hands of other people so that we can uncover how can we make that match. Can we make a match? If we can't make a match, guess what? We're going to brush our shoulders off and we're going to walk and part ways as friends.
It's so funny. You know, a lot of this stuff comes down to fundamental stuff, and it's not new. You know, I'm listening to, or I just actually wrapped up listening to How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Just went through it for a second time. And it's so interesting when you reread a book like that. It's like, man, this stuff is not new. I mean, this is an old book, right? You know, he's talking about 30s and he's using examples with Lincoln in it and criminals from the, you know, the 20s and the 30s, right? Just really, really interesting stuff from a historical piece. But the stuff is relevant today. Listening to people love their names. So make sure you say their name. Larry, I like listening to Larry. And I'm going to ask questions about Larry because if Larry feels like I care about what he has to say, he's going to think I'm a really great conversationalist, even if I didn't say very much because I was interested in what he said because I listened. And I think that's so important. And so many people forget I know I forget it as well. Oh, I gotta say my piece. I gotta make sure that I'm telling them, no, it's not true. A lot of the times you ask somebody enough questions about themselves, and for folks that have done this, you know, if you've ever done it, talk for half an hour. That other person's telling you, you're asking questions about them. By the end of it, they give you this sincere look and they say, man, we've been talking. I want to know how I can help you. Right. And it's so funny, but it's a powerful and it's a different thing. It's not transactional in nature. Somebody feels like, you know, man, it's amazing. I really want, you know, you feel the feeling of it. And I think it's really incredible when you can dip into that and you see it and you feel it and you experience it. It's revolutionary, even though it's not new at all.
The fundamentals, you called it, about relationships and about the people. I've been hearing a lot the challenges that organizations have in finding good people. Mm-hmm. Well, you got to make sure that you take care of your people, that you don't just talk about how you care, but you show them how you care. My wife, she says, hey, baby, you tell me you love me. Show me how much you love me. Go ahead and take out the trash. Go ahead and do these dishes. That's the way to my heart to show me just how much you know me and you love me.
Yeah, don't tell me, show me, right? You know, and I think that's a really important piece of it too. And I know it's a part that I struggle with too. Is you have busy days, you go through, you talk to a lot of people. All right, how are you setting things up? How are you systemizing your work, setting up processes for your work so that when you say that you're going to do something, it gets done? Because that makes sales a lot easier. If I say to somebody, this is going to be here at this time, it's going to be customized this way, and then it happens, I think are probably ahead of most of anybody else this person's talked to today, tomorrow, the next day, next year, right? Because so few people really, really, really come through all the way on what they say they're going to do. So many people are over promising and under delivering. If you can under promise and over deliver, that's a big, big deal.
Big
All right,
time.
so let's get into some of these takeaways that you have. Belief in self combined with planning and execution will allow you to accomplish amazing things. What are you talking about there?
Yeah, I mean, it starts from within. I mean, I'll give you an example. When I was younger, we moved around a lot. And as a 6-year-old, that can mess with your self-esteem, your self-confidence. At night, we would say our prayer, and then my mom used to make me stand up and say out loud, I am somebody 10 times. Now, I'm not a math major, but you do that 365 nights in a year, that's a whole lot of I am somebody's. Now you got this little 7-year-old, as Kevin Hart would say it with your chest. You now start to believe in yourself and have that confidence. Now, don't be cocky. There's a line there of being cocky, but being confident in yourself, believing in your heart, believing in your mind, saying it with your mouth. And it's not just what you say, but it's how you say it. Now that sounds good. And hey, Larry, that sounds great, but how do I actually do it? Now you've got to execute. And I'm not sponsored by Nike, but I love their tagline, just do it. There's things that we can do that the great people choose to do, and the other folks can do the same thing, but they make a choice, a conscious decision not to do it. So I encourage you right now, tonight, tomorrow morning, when you wake up, say it out loud. I am somebody 10 times. Come back to me in 30 days and tell me if your life isn't transformed. If your life isn't transformed, shame on me. Something's going wrong. But you can really, you can really speak it into existence. Does that mean that you're going to have success with everything? Heck to the no. But does it now give you a chance to knock out those home runs? Oh, for sure. Like I said, I'm a little dude, but I talked it up that, hey, I'm going to be a Division I starter. I'm going to be a Division I ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference, one of the best divisions of baseball. 5'0", 5'9" 3/4, balling, all because I believed it in my heart, believed it in my mind. I encourage everyone else to believe in yourself. And if you need help, reach out to me. Reach out to your circle of friends to support you, to cheer you on, to kick you in the behind when you need it, because essentially it's so important.
All right, Larry, I got an important question for you, because you just said, all right, so if you go every day and you say that to yourself, get in the mirror, I am somebody.
Yep.
I'm an amazing person, right? Yep. What do you say to that person? That's corny, Larry. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go in front of my mirror. That's corny. What are you talking about? I know I'm amazing. That's fine. I don't need to go in front of the mirror and consciously do that every day for 30 days. Doesn't make sense. That's corny, Larry. What do you say to that person?
I say I love it. And you're entitled to your opinion. I'm going to agree to disagree. Like I said, my father came out of the hood. He never should have made it out, but essentially he believed it inside. Now, he also had a support group, a support network of people that believed in him. But you're right, it is corny. But don't knock it until you try it. And if you try it and you don't believe in it, yeah, you get out of it what you put into it. That's life. So essentially, that's your choice. But essentially, if you don't do it, I know someone who will, and I know someone who's willing to take that leap of faith to do that, to speak it into existence, that's going to seize the opportunity. So many times people think, oh, I got it all figured out. Okay. All right. I'm going to challenge you. You got it all figured out on a scale of 1 to 10. Where are you? If you tell me you're a 10, I got to take a U-turn. I can't mess with you. I've yet to meet any 10s. There's no one that's perfect. So essentially, you might be a 9.5. How do we get you to a 9.7? What can we do? And I tell you, you're going to make me stand up now.
Here we go.
I stand up and I say, I am somebody 10 times. Whoa, you better watch out now. I'm about to break the internet, CT. I'm about to break it.
I love it. I love it. And I love that leading through example. I appreciate that a lot. because I think that's what so many people need to hear. We were talking about before we came on that you speak to colleges and universities, and I have a passion for college and career prep. Providing opportunity and education to people, I think, is my life's mission. I really enjoy it. I have lived a life where I've seen the value from both taking the wrong turns, not opening up those doors of opportunity, and seeing people that have, right, that have taken the correct steps, motivated themselves, had the help, reached out to people when necessary, and opened up those doors of opportunity. I have some students that come through the program younger than me. I don't want to compare, in a negative, nasty kind of way, but I'm really, really excited for where they've been able to go, where they've been able to travel, the type of life they've been able to lead. And seemingly, everybody has their problems, but seemingly in a way where they weren't leaving challenges, right? Roadblocks. They were opening up doors of opportunity for themselves and able to help others in a way that I was not able to do at their age, right? And that's really incredible. So what is your message along these lines when you go out and you speak to colleges and universities?
Yeah, I've got a few. The first one is around relationships and true connections. And it's kind of like gardening. I don't have a green thumb, but my wife does. Relationships take work. True relationships. And there's a saying, Steve Noodleberg, I learned it from him about 8 years ago. He said, Larry, in my 30 plus years of selling, I learned the difference between contacts, people you know, and contracts, people you do some sort of interaction or business with, is the letter R. And the R is relationships, true, genuine relationships. It's not what you know, and it's not even who you know. It's who knows you and who trusts you and who believes in you. So that's one. The other one is motivation. Where does yours come from? And that's a tough question. I ask folks to look in the mirror and really dig down deep to what's your why? Your why is different from my why. My why is my 2 kids and my beautiful wife, the legacy of my father, my mother, my sister, and my family, making sure, as well as all those family members, coaches, teachers that have invested in me, I want to make sure that I'm doing right by them. That's my why. What's your why? Strikeouts are a part of life. If you're living life, you're going to strike out. You're going to strike out on the ball field. You're going to strike out in the boardroom. How do you bounce back? How do you use that failure as fuel? And then the last one, I know you're going to love this, Cameron. How do you leverage social media and specifically LinkedIn to land your dream job? I believe there's a lot of black boxes out there. And in a sea of black boxes, I don't want to be a black box. I want to be a green triangle. I actually want to be a pink. And we're gonna stay on color. I want to be a pink trapezoid. You're like, trapezoid? Yeah. If you can say the word trapezoid and not at least crack a smile, whoa, you're a lot tougher than me. Trapezoid. I'm trying to stand out. I'm trying to differentiate. So that's really what I provide to colleges and universities.
It was really interesting. I had this principal that was responsible for really pushing the bar with the school, A. Philip Randolph Campus High School, where the nonprofit that I work with and I'm on the board of is based out of. And, here's this woman that's very senior at this point. This is years after she was a principal of the school. She's coming back and she was talking to some of the high school students and, gray hair, senior woman. And she was saying, you got to stay on top of technology. And she was saying that to these high school kids. And you say, well, why do high school kids have to stay on top of tech? They got cell phones and all this kind of stuff. But I see it day in and day out of people that take it for granted. They learn one set of systems or processes or tools, and they do not evolve. We were talking about it before we jumped on the air today. The idea of moving up in time, making sure that you're staying on top of whatever the new thing in social media. There's always a new thing. Are you on there? Are you experimenting? Are you getting on there? I think that's such great advice, especially to young people, because you can take it for granted. You can say, oh, I know how to use Facebook. I know how to use Instagram. I'm good. Do you know how to use TikTok? Do you know how to use Bitcoin and the things that are coming in after it? Are you staying on top of some of this stuff that's coming up? Because you can say, oh, Bitcoin's just a thing that you can invest in and its currency, but there's this whole thing around, and I don't even understand it that well, but the way that you can track data and move things around in the world. And now we're getting into these, I'm going to mispronounce it and all that, but these digital pieces of artwork and all this stuff, NLP, I want to say something like that. I'm sure I'm murdering it. Somebody help me out in the comments, but all these different things that are coming up. And so you don't have to be an expert on everything, but you should know what's going on and enough to say if this is something that could work for you, your business, your employer, all that kind of stuff. I love that message. All right, I'm going to get into our next takeaway here. Positive attitude and outlook is a true superpower and differentiator. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I mean, it says it all. Your attitude, it really determines your altitude. And for those same people that said, oh, that's hokey, Larry, in terms of I am somebody, they're probably the same people that are like, having a positive attitude doesn't make a difference. Well, I'm here to tell you it makes a world of difference in everything that you do in life, in your relationships, in your family, in your friends, in your work, in your finances, in your philanthropy. You talked about negative Nancy. I also say negative Nelly. If you're a negative Nancy, negative Nelly, ain't nobody got time for that, like Sweet Georgia Brown said. You're now bringing everyone down. I'm telling you, it's contagious, your attitude. Keep your droplets to yourself, but let's spread the positivity. Boop, tag, you're it. Pass it along. So essentially having a positive mindset. That doesn't mean that everything is sunshine and rainbows. As my 7-year-old daughter would say, not everything is unicorns. I wish it was, but life is a 4-letter word. We're going through some stuff. But we control the narrative. And I say, we can write the narrative of how we react. Bad things are going to happen. I had a colleague of mine, Jamie Babb. He's now in Bentonville, Arkansas, working for a big employer out there. He came and spoke to my team and said, hey, Larry, anything that happens, whether it's good or bad, I make a conscious decision to look for and identify the good, the great, and the wonderful. And when he did it, we had a snowstorm. And one of my reps, Nathan, said, I'm so glad that he delivered that word because the good, his car got stuck in a snowbank. He said, the good is that I got exercise having to walk a mile through the snow. He said, the great was that I got to stay in a hotel. And the wonderful was that I didn't have my wife and my dog kicking me while I was sleeping. I got a good night's sleep, all because of it. Most people would say, woe is me. Oh, why me? Why did my car have to get stuck in this snowbank? He said, I'm going to look for the good, the great, and the wonderful. It's a choice. It's your choice.
I love that. I had Rachel West on yesterday when she was talking about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and we were having this conversation around, the self-talk, and I love this because we're talking about the outward talk. What do you say to somebody that's in a sales organization, whether it's their business and they're running their sales team, or they're a part of another organization that they're in the sales force, right? There's things that may be going on in the organization that you don't love, things that you don't have a positive attitude on it because it's maybe negatively affecting your day one way or another. How do you talk about that and not be negative Nelly, negative Nancy?
All you can do is control the controllables. And there's an acronym. I call it EAT. But it's almost summertime. I'm trying to work on this 6-pack. So I'm going to flip the script. I'm going to say T instead of E. And I'm in North Carolina, so we'll call it sweet tea. You can only control how you treat other people. You can control your emotions, and you can control your actions and your attitude. Now, in that situation, the scenario that you presented, I don't have control over it. I can communicate and I can let my feelings known, and hopefully I come with solutions. It's not good to come with a problem if you haven't thought through what are some potential solutions. Yeah, but essentially all you can do is control the controllables. If it's a situation where it's not healthy, where you don't feel belonging, then you got to change the situation if you're in a position to. If you're not, sometimes you gotta do what you got to do. But I encourage people to make that choice.
So spell out that T for us. And what's our TEA?
Yeah, treat how you treat other people, your emotions, and your actions and your attitude. And I share that with my children that, hey, you can't control other kids. Other kids are going to say mean things. Other kids and even adults are going to say mean things. But as long as you control yourself, you're going to be A-OK in the long run.
I love that. And going back to this book, I've just been in my head, but How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's talking about, he lays out examples where he's going and speaking to a vendor that has an issue, or has an employee or company that has an issue. And he spends the whole time just, how's everything going? I love a tour. And by the end of it, the guy's like, I know you're probably here because it's on their mind too, right? It's probably there. So how can you get around the defensiveness? How can you get around the, people are territorial. People got things going on in their lives. How can you get around that mess? And usually the way to get around that mess is not by treating people in a way that you don't want to be treated, messing with their emotions, so doing things that are negative emotion wise, right? And then doing things actually, right? You can imagine somebody yelling at somebody, waving their hands, going crazy, taking negative actions towards somebody when there's probably another better way where you're not going to alienate the people that you're working with. And I think that's so important. And so what is your advice? Somebody's, you're walking into a sales meeting, you got to speak to your team. What's your approach in trying to get everybody on the same page and get everybody into that attitude of gratitude and move forward?
The best way is to model it yourself and to be genuine with it. And I'm genuine. Not every day is a great day. That'd be a lie. I've yet to meet anyone where, like Ice Cube said, today was a great day every day. I mean, we're all human, but I intentionally look for the positive, even in the storm, even in the chaos. We've been going through some stuff these past 14, 15 months now, Cameron, but essentially it's our choice to look for the bright spot of it. I can tell you that we've been in lockdown. I've met people from around the world that I never would have met. I learned from folks that I never would have learned from. So I challenge my team. I challenge my colleagues. What are you doing to make the most of a situation that might not be optimal? Because guess what? Not every situation is going to be the best situation. Many times it's not. It's going to be optimal. It's going to be less than optimal, suboptimal. That's life. But how do you roll with the punches? How do you adjust? I'm going to use the baseball term. When you get thrown that curveball, how do you make the adjustment, keep your weight back, and still hit a home run? And if you don't, how do you learn from it? How do you live? Yeah. How do you learn? How do you laugh? And how do you love? Coming from Larry Long Jr., that's a lot of L's.
So, I'm just going to say this. So much of what we get back from the world is what we put out, right? And so that piece of it, I think, is so important for people to take away. There's usually a way to go at the situation if we take the moment, we take a breath, because it's very easy for the situation to get worse.
That's right.
It can be challenging to make the situation better. We know that. It's not so challenging to make the situation worse. We know how to make the situation worse. We can fly off the handle. We can treat people badly. We can make the situation worse. We can do that relatively easy. And this is where the motivation, this is where the progress, this is where the whole deal comes together. If we put some thought into something and we treat people well, control our emotions, and take some positive actions. I love that T acronym there. That is something that can move the ball forward and get us where we want to go. All right. So this brings us to our final takeaway here. Focus on others versus being a me monster is critical to long-term success. So I think we've been sort of circling this right around this. So talk to us about what this means.
Yeah. First, Cameron, I got to say, I applaud you for having a growth mindset. You talked about rereading the Dale Carnegie
Yeah.
book. You've got an open mind and you realize that there's always opportunity for you to learn more. This one right here is, it's not about us. So there's a great philosopher named Young Jeezy, and he's got a song talking about a go-getter. And I love a go-getter. I love to work with, to play on the same team as go-getters. But I really, really love go-givers. And there's a book by Bob Berg, The Go-Giver. Essentially, the person that intentionally, that purposefully goes out to give to others, make deposits to others. That really is just inspiring. And some people might say, what in the world is a me monster? Well, chances are you've worked with a me monster, you've played sports with a me monster, and if you haven't, you might be the me monster. It's the person that wakes up and all they care about is me, 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 me. They don't care about we. They don't care about you. All they care about is their self-serving interests. And I tell you, it stinks. Ugh. Oh, it smells terrible. It's not good to be around. It's not fun. It's not productive. When you look at the team setting, teamwork really does make the dream work. But I need a team of folks that are willing to come together and be collaborative. I don't need folks that are going to be crabs in a barrel trying to pull each other down. No, I need the people that are going to reach back and pull someone else up. And I believe it's critical to having long-term success. There's examples of folks that are me monsters that have short-term success, but in the long haul, and like I said, I'm working on taking my short-term framework to the long haul. You've really got to be in it to help others.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll mention this book, The Go-Giver. We're actually going to be interviewing Mr. Bob Berg for the Master Connection Series show with C-Spear on Monday, the 21st at 1 p.m. So excited that you're talking about the book. I just bought it. I actually haven't read it yet, so I'm excited diving into it. It's not that thick of a read, so that's helpful for me because I'm on a deadline here to get this thing done. But I've been hearing about the book over and over again, and this idea of being a go-giver. Can you just kind of walk us down that path? What does that really mean, being a go-giver?
Yeah, it's once again, it's thinking about others. It's exhibiting empathy, which is stepping into others' shoes. The best example, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Chick-fil-A, My Pleasure, but they have a training that focuses their staff to focus on their customers' needs. And it talks about everyone's got a story. And you don't know if the couple that came in, if they might have gotten a bad diagnosis medically. You don't know what's going on in their life, but if you just approach them with the spirit of how can I give? How can I make deposits? And most people understand deposits when it comes to the bank. When I had my baseball academy, I went to make a withdrawal, and Bank of America, I hate to put them on blast, but they laughed at me. They said, Mr. Long Jr., you got jokes. You can't make any withdrawals without making deposits. It's the same thing with relationships. It's the same thing with life. Are you putting in? Are you giving with no expectation of taking? Essentially, you got to build equity, relationship equity, if you want to make withdrawals from people. If not, you're going to be tapped out. You're overdrawn. I've been there before. It's not fun to be overdrawn. So I'm going to give you something tangible that you can do right now. I call it the hashtag 3-minute challenge. Every day, just go ahead and put it in your calendar. 3 minutes is all you need. Go through your Rolodex. I know I'm dating myself. For you young millennials, that means your contact list on your phone. Take 3 minutes, find one person, and all you're trying to do is think of something that you can do creatively to surprise and delight them. Cameron, I know you're a voracious reader. I'm going to go ahead and find on Amazon either the book or maybe even just the screenshot of Can't Hurt Me, which is one of my favorite reads. And I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to say, hey, Cameron, this is a hot banger. I was thinking about you and thinking about the impact that this book can have in your life. Make it a great day.
I haven't read that one yet, so I'm excited. I'm excited. And I saw Goggins because he's with what's the cat guy with curly hair, and Goggins came in and he brought him in to live with him, to work him out and run marathon. It was crazy. So very excited to hear anything from Goggins. Very cool.
No doubt. No
Susan
doubt.
Castelli's been chiming in. She's saying Rolodexes were the best. She remembers Rolodexes. Go give heart. It's sharing your heart for the good of others. And she's tuning in from Ontario, Canada. Susan Castelli, thanks for being with us today. So Larry, I love that piece. And I love that spending 3 minutes. I mean, so many people talk about, like, especially like LinkedIn, right? Going on there, spending, 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, interacting, engaging, listening, responding, right? This kind of thing. And so going into your Rolodex is just a great way. And especially if you can get these things onto your calendar, this go giving, right? This giving of your heart, taking some time to give every day, you got to feel good doing it. I think that's got to be a major part of the aspect, but then you're also touching base with people. You're creating stronger relationships, which can never hurt you. I love that piece of it. All right. So I thank you for giving us some really valuable takeaways. I want to talk about some things that you have coming up that are very exciting. So I know that you are launching your website. When's the website coming out?
Oh goodness, June 15th, 2021. And that's my birthday. So it's a special day for me to be able to launch the website, LarryLongJr.com. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm blushing, Cameron.
No worries. So happy birthday in advance. That's amazing. So folks are going to check out the website. What's that web address when it launches?
Larry Long Jr., and that's just JR, LarryLongJr.com.
Making it easy for folks, right? And then there's something else that you're going to be launching later this year that people should be excited about.
Oh, goodness. I'm really blushing now. And I got my artwork, Jolt. It's my solo book project. And it means so much to me because I now have the impact to zap people into intentionality, rediscover, and believe in your inner greatness. And I've got 7 chapters with 3 zaps, essentially 3 things that you can do, whether it's I am somebody, 3 things that you can do over 30 days that are going to change your life for the good. If you're about your business, if you're not about it, as Master P would say, it's probably not the book for you. But if you're about it, come on. All
right, so you're talking my language now because I'm of the '90s hip hop, R&B, and reggae school of life. So that was my time. I'm definitely about it. So definitely going to pick up that book, Larry. So talk to us about Jolt. Like what was the thinking around this? I love that you got the artwork and you got the intentionality. You also have a release date that is significant too. I don't know if you want to talk about that for folks.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Cameron. So December 11th, 2021 is my release date. And that date means so much to me. My father passed away December 11th, 2015. And one of the chapters in my book, I think it's chapter 7, is Lessons from My Dad. And all the chapters, I've been running a midweek, midday motivational minute over the past year plus. Every Wednesday, I go live just like you at 12 o'clock noon Eastern. And I've just really had the blessing to be able to sow into other people's lives with some positive news. You turn on the news, they should call it bad news. And like Sweet Georgia Brown said, ain't nobody got time for that. Life is already tough. In order for me, I'm a big believer you are what you eat. You are what you consume. And if you're consuming bad news, guess what? Bad news is probably going to follow you around. Yeah. If you get some good news in your life, and that's what I'm all about. We're giving you some good news. Now we can start to open ourselves up to receive the blessings, to receive the goodness that the world has for us. And there's a term that says carpe diem, seize the day. I met a gentleman, and I'm afraid of needles. He had a tattoo, carpe diem, had another tattoo, carpe noctem. I said, oh, I can carpe diem. I'm a little bit too old to be carpe noctem, and I can't be seizing the night, maybe back in my younger years. But I'm on a mission really to help inspire and help people to take it to the next level with action. It sounds good to write it down, to think about it, but your actions speak so loud, I can't hear what you're saying.
That was deep. I had to take a moment. All right. So website's launching. The book is coming later this year. I was talking to you before we jumped on. We'll have to have you come on when that book launches. I'm excited about that. Deeply, deeply thankful for not only the lessons you shared from yourself, but the legacy from your father. You carry that forward every day, and I can feel that in how you talk about your father and the lessons that you've kind of learned from him. What are there some other things that you got going on that you want to tell people about, and who should be connecting with you right now, and how should they get a hold of you?
You know, I got some tricks up my sleeve. So I also have a online on-demand sales training course, Sales 101, and it's the basic fundamentals. I was able to partner. We developed it. It's called the Sales Allies, and that's the salesallies.com. It really helps to build a good base, a good foundation for selling skills. We focus on time management, prospecting, discovery, demo, pipeline management, and closing. And essentially, I provide additional services. So I'm just enthused. Like I said, I'm on a mission to help inspire folks to get to that next level. Who should connect with me? Anyone and everyone. But I'm really good for sales professionals, software sales professionals, startup founders, small business entrepreneurs. But also, I'm taking my talents, not to South Beach. I'm not LeBron, but I also take my talents to larger organizations that realize it's about investing in our people, making sure we show them that we care, as well as up-leveling their skills, because teamwork, it makes the dream work. Let's go ahead. Let's get it.
I love it, Larry. All right, so we're going to close this out. We're actually, later this day, if you're watching this on replay, you're going to want to not only, if you loved what you got from this, you're going to want to go check out the Master Connection series, Motivation, Is It an Inside Job? That's the Master Connection series I do with Steve Spiro. We're going to be on later today at 2 p.m. Eastern if you're watching this live. If you're watching this on the replay, you got questions, hashtag replay in there. Me and Larry will definitely be in the comments. We'll follow up with you. Excited for your questions, excited to engage. Larry, we got an exciting day ahead of us. I appreciate you doing the double duty here with me on the show today. I'm going to give you the last word, but I just want to say thank you so much for bringing the value and bringing the energy to the show today. I really appreciate you. I'll let you sign off, and we'll play us off with the BizDev theme here.
Hey, Cameron, my pleasure, my privilege. Thank you for allowing me to join. I just encourage all of your listeners, all your viewers, believe in yourself and go ahead and make it happen. Only you can make it happen. Peace.
BizDev Live, BizDev Live. Weekdays at 11 Eastern Time, live. BizDev Live, BizDev Live. Weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration, BizDev Live, BizDev Live. Business development, not even selling it. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is business development, not even selling it. BizDev Live, BizDev Live.